But super excited that everyone's joining us today. See some familiar faces here in the chat. So today's conversation is about the profit multiplier, what I would refer to as the unlock by harmonizing and unifying pricing and PPC. Um, and nobody's talking about. There's a lot of like isolated incidents of people focusing on PPC or focusing on price, but when you put the two together, there's a lot of magic that can happen. And Tarik and I are going to go through that today. So for those that are new or don't know who I am or new on my side, I'm Chad Rubin. I've been in this space now for about 20 years. I've got the hair loss here to prove it, which is pretty awesome. I'm rocking it and I'm proud of it. Started off with an e-commerce business. We made vacuum filters and coffee filters. Then I started Stubana, an inventory management software for Shopify Plus and Amazon brands. We sold that in 2019. Co-founded the Prosper Show with three other great guys in the space. We sold that in 2019, and then started Profasee out of my own pain of trying to make more money in my business. So that's me dialing in here from Miami. Tarik, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for attending. I'm Tarik Berrada, and I'm the founder and CEO, co-founder and CEO of M19, a PPC software company for people who don't know us. I've been like less than Chad in the e-commerce space, only 14 years, but I was mainly from the AdWords space, working at Criteo before in research and development before starting M19 5 years ago. So I've been in the advertising space for a long period now. And for the last 5 years, I've been on the Amazon advertising space through M19, where we are building the full automation software to optimize and manage all ad formats on Amazon.
Amazing. I probably forgot to mention what I do here at Prophecy, and I'll just share we dynamically change price to maximize your intention for your ASIN. So it could be to maximize revenue, could be to maximize profit, or it might be to maximize revenue or profit, revenue, or velocity. Sorry, it's still early for me. I'm still in a fasted state, which means I should probably not have any brain fog, but maybe I do. But yeah, so we dynamically change price for Amazon brands only. So we compete, live and die by the SERP, by the search engine ranking page, not by trying to win the buy box. So we are exclusively built for D2C private label brands on Amazon. All right, well let's get into it. I mean, the genesis of this conversation actually with Tariq uh, was around me reaching out because I was like very impressed. I've heard great things about the software. There's a lot of noise in the Amazon advertising space. And so I sort of reached out to Tariq, and we've been working on a mutual client together with PPC and price and seen some really nice results. But we were like, yeah, why don't we publicly have a conversation around the thesis around price and PPC together and putting these things together to help sellers make more money?
Yeah, we started discussing and testing like nine months ago, right? Right, Chad? And proper testing for now four months.
Yeah, something like
And
that. And yeah,
and I hope we will be publishing soon some case studies with some real results based on this combo of using the two softwares together, talking to each other.
totally. So do you want to start things off, Tariq?
Uh, yes, I think we are. There's enough. Yeah, we are 5 minutes after the start. Yeah, let's kickstart our discussion and maybe start with why it matter to work on dynamic pricing and PPC in parallel. Why it's important to do this combo and make them work together. So, what do you think, Chad?
Ooh, that's a big conversation, but I'm happy to share my perspective. So I think pricing touches all parts of the organization. And so all parts of the organization should touch pricing. Even if you look at the pure ACoS equation, right? The numerator is revenue, which is price times units, and the denominator is your ad spend or ad spend divided by revenue. So
Yeah.
people are focusing more so on one side of the equation, not on the other. And when you put the two together, there's a really amazing unlock that could happen. So, I mean, initially we started just doing price changes, and we started seeing at least a 10% lift of profit for brands with on Profasee that are dynamically changing price. Then we started seeing that price and demand have an inverse relationship. So if price increases, demand naturally decreases. Unless you're Nike, unless you're Apple, right? This is the typical relationship. And so what we found is that you can artificially start to increase demand using advertising dollars to just offset the increase of prices, but boost demand enough where you're squeezing even more profit dollars out of your ASINs on Amazon. So if you look at here, I'm actually just, for those that are tuning in, I'm just going to go to this awesome table that I think breaks it down really well. Let me just pull it up on my screen real quick. Now, on top of that, I want to say that price also dictates spend, right? If you increase price, there's more margin that you can squeeze out. You have more dollars that you can spend to make those dollars and have them have a nice return on investment. So let's just use this base case, right? So if you have a price, a garlic press, easy enough, $30. Increase the price 20%. And we increase ACoS 20%. These are the two levers we're going to increase. We increase price, we increase ACoS. All other things, let's look at the bottom line here, the drop to the profit. Landed costs doesn't change. Your cost of goods sold didn't change. The referral fee increases 20% because your price increased. So Amazon's take has increased. FBA fee hasn't changed. The weight hasn't changed. And look at what happens to the gross profit dollars. It increases 60%. The ad spend naturally increases 20% because your ACoS has increased. But look at contribution profit. Your contribution profit in this example has doubled. So your ACoS looks worse. So a lot of sellers in the space manage to this ACoS, that's a revenue embedded metric. And your ROAS, which is the inverse of the ACoS, also looks like it's deteriorating. But your contribution profit dollars, the heartbeat of your business, has now doubled in profitability, and your profit on your ad spend has increased 27%. So like this to me is something that we discovered. We sort of like were wandering in the desert and stumbled across this interesting idea around spend, which is why Tarik, I reached out immediately and I was like, wow, this is a massive opportunity, and we can work together on this and go to market together.
Yeah, I love this table because it states clearly the link and the impact that it can have directly on the margin while investing more and going for lower ROAS or higher ACoS. But when you change the price in a smart way, you can achieve better profit margins. From our side, from the PPC side, how we get into these pricing topics was through a problem we had 2 years ago with a big customer where we couldn't understand some weird PPC fluctuations. And after multiple investigations, we we understood and we found out that the guy was just making promos, changing the price. And what we saw is by changing his price, the conversion rate was so different that Amazon is having a different estimate of conversion rate because they take into account the price. So the way it works on the advertising space, to get a sponsored position, there is some internal auction without getting into details. Inside Amazon, they have their own internal auctions. They take into account the bid that you put on a keyword. They estimate your conversion rate for your product on a specific keyword, and they combine the two. And with this number, they decide on what position to show your product to maximize the user experience. User experience is increasing the likelihood of a user to buy what they have been exposed to. So after these customer change the price, reducing the price, the estimated conversion rate from Amazon was way higher because it's pretty basic that any prediction algorithm or machine learning algorithm that is using price, that is important as an input of predicting conversion rate will tend to estimate a higher conversion rate while seeing a drop in price. And with that, with this higher estimate, we saw that there was an increase and an improvement in his sponsored ranks. So we were getting more impressions, more clicks. And this was the reason why the ads performance was different, was better, because just the price of the product was changed. So from that started our kind of not repricer journey, but pricing aware journey. Well, we introduced, for people that knows us, what we call the product event timeline, where we show all the main events, and one of the major events are price changes. And we have to show them in graphs where we show anything related to advertising. Whenever we show ad spend, echo, sponsored sales, impression, conversion, whatever, you have the option inside the software to show these major events that are price changes. This is how we started taking more seriously into account pricing, have it in the platform so as when you are analyzing what's happening, trying to understand the dynamics, the PPC dynamics, you have next to it like the price timeline to see what is the impact between the two. So from our side, the link came from having PPC performance changed drastically because of this conversion rate estimate from Amazon, because of the price change. This is how it started on our side.
Amazing. Yeah. Um, I don't know how to follow that specifically, I guess. I think I wanted to just like share an interesting visual, perhaps. Go
Yeah,
off the cuff. Let me see if I can share my screen again. I think this kind of summarizes it, right? So you do ad spend divided by revenue, and a lot of sellers are stuck on this numerator. Now, you're pointing out specifically, especially the awareness of your journey with M19 of being aware of the denominator, which is revenue equals price times units. So most people are ignoring this. And this is really by putting both the numerator and the denominator together, there's a pretty amazing unlock that could happen. Now, I guess, so you had a customer, right? And they were partially, I guess, optimizing for the numerator and not the denominator, and that's how you stumbled across it.
exactly. Yeah.
Cool. And so I did like prepare some interesting graphs of someone that's jointly together. I guess before we get into that specifically, when it comes to M19 and like, there's a lot of different PPC softwares out there. Can you share a little about maybe the breakdown of how you're different? Obviously, like the pricing piece and the piece that we're starting to interplay with you guys, how that's one aspect of differentiation to create a defensible and durable SaaS product. But can you share a little bit more? Because like you broke it down to me very beautifully about the differences.
Yeah. So why we think we are on the right path to a good PPC optimization in this new era of e-commerce, where you are taking into account like billions of parameters that are from the market, from your internal P&L, from your competition, etc., is because the DNA and the machine itself, the engine of M19, is mainly based on two things that are critical, especially when also you are making dynamic pricing. Because we didn't, I think we didn't state this clearly, Chad, but when you do dynamic pricing or PPC optimization, machine learning based, you need to have a system that is optimizing daily, because there are daily changes and you need to take into account the new impact of your previous change while while acknowledging what changed, what happened just the day before. So when you are dynamically changing things, you need to have a system that is dynamically adapting each day, taking into account the new changes. And why M19 system is designed for that type of optimization is because of two things. First is being able to be reactive, super reactive to change, and at the same time, stable enough to capture long-term trends. So in the intelligence itself in the bidding, in the predictions that the machine learning is doing. There are mainly two, if we have to simplify it, two factors. One that is short term and one that is long term. The long term piece is there to capture ASIN, keywords, link, and conversion performance. So you cannot estimate conversion at search term level for a specific ASIN if you don't take into account enough data. And this piece is less, since we have few data at search term level, is less sensitive to price change that is happening at product level. And the short-term piece, short-term factor that we call internal feedback loop is the thing that should be reactive to impact on profit. So this second piece that we call the feedback loop is the thing that is trying to align the spend, the ACOS, the total ACOS, whatever we are trying to optimize, that is trying to align it to the target that you are aiming for. So one of the strengths of a system like M19, maybe other systems in the market are doing it, but whatever system you are using, M19 or rule-based, whatever, you need to have in place inside the system something that is capturing long-term effects, that is mainly how well a search term is converted and suited to your product, and short-term, how well you are going into the right direction to hit your target margin, ROAS, total ACOS target, or whatever. This is the feedback loop that is taking into account just the day before, before, with higher weights on the recent days.
One of the things I wanted to address, we had a comment come in the chat, and this is from Haroon Usman, and he wasn't understanding the raising of the price and the PPC budget. So I want to just take a look here. I've got Amazon here. I typed in the word garlic press, and you can see the different garlic presses. Now, what you see is 4 different sponsored ads. We got our boy Aaron from Zule coming in. We got Oxo, well-known retail brand. This is a 1P product. Katensu, which is a private label product. Prices are all over the place. Now, many of these people don't even know what the right price is. That's part of the problem, is that they're leaving tons of money on the table. I want you to take a look at this one right here. This is super interesting. Of course, the CTR goat is on this call, so he can see that this listing itself is actually okay. It doesn't have the garlic pouring out. But what it does have, it says a stainless steel, no need to peel. It's got a few things I think are interesting on the front image. And when you look at this price of $29.99, this is precisely what I'm referring to. The idea that all these other guys are playing at the 11, 9, 14, and suddenly you see this NLP, neuro linguistic programming, that literally shocks you. And you're like, wait a minute. $30, like there must be something different. It's stainless steel. Oh, that might be different. Or there's no need to peel the garlic. By the way, I hate peeling garlic. It solves a big pain point for me. And look at this price. This is what I'm referring to, where you can increase the price. Now, I'm not saying that this is the optimal price point. What I am saying is that you can increase your price and offset the decrease in demand by artificially boosting that demand with ad spend dollars. And his profit margins are probably 3x that of Zule or Katensu, whoever else is here. If your margins are 3x, that means maybe you're advertising 1.5x of ad spend, and those dollars all trickle down to the bottom line. On top of that, he has his 5% coupon here. Like there's a lot of like well done items that are happening for his product, and he's garnering market share. And so what I'm referring to is this idea of when you know the perfect price to optimize for the perfect outcome, that whatever your intention is for the product, and you do that with spend dollars together, the opportunity could be massive. And this is an example of that I'm sharing with you in real time. Any thoughts on that, Tarik?
I was just trying to do the math of like the $30 product that is selling 1,000 with a high profit margin, let's say, I don't know, 30%. trying to compare it to Zule 10K with 5% profit margin, trying to do the math and hoping that the dollars amount is to it to be higher, even with less 10 times sales for the expensive product.
Now,
You
I mean,
see
the
what
beautiful thing
I'm
about Zule is that he has organic too, right? So you'd have to
uh,
actually back out his organic, separate it, and make certain assumptions. Because I'm pretty sure this specific product, which has no brand awareness, there's like literally it's a commoditized product. There's like they're not even trying to
uh,
push a brand. That product, let's see if it's showing up organic.
it's
Okay, fine.
not
It's like
sponsored.
fine. It's down
No,
here. Okay, I would frequently viewed. Okay, it's probably frequently viewed because of the sponsored ad, but it's not actually.
it is sponsored as well. It is sponsored.
Oh, this is sponsored. Okay, right, right. So I don't see anything organic for it. Oh, and here it is down
Mhm.
here. Let's click it. So essentially, we're on page one, position 17, for those that like to read the URL codes on the page. So he's still 17, but anyway, so you'd have to do the math to figure out exactly the net ROI. But this is a consistent theme that I'm seeing in this specific space. Even alone, let's go to, let me see if I can pull up our boy. I want to show like a cool pricing example. This is Mina Elias's brand. I'm sure you know Mina. He's outspoken in the space. MMA Nutrition. This is his supplement brand. And if you scroll down below here to Keepa, I want to show you a cool case study, which is this idea that people on Amazon typically never change price. So pink, for those that don't know this graph, is your buy box price, and green is your rank. So most brands on Amazon don't change price. And when we started to come in to work with him, we started dynamically rotating price. And look at what happened to his ranking position. It massively dropped. And you can see that we started capitalizing on the mispricing opportunities and then came to him roughly right around here. And we said, hey, look, the model wants us to explore upward bounds. It wants to go higher. And he was like, okay, lift the upward bounds and look at what happened. His BSR remained flat. And this was a seven-figure profit capture opportunity right here alone. This defies this normal thinking on Amazon that, oh, don't change price or there is a perfect price. There is no perfect price. And our model is aware of BSR to capitalize on this difference. So the idea here around with that specific garlic press is no different, right? Like he's changing up his mentality and saying, hey, you know what? Let me think out of the box. Let me think differently. And let me see how price, if you harmonize it with spend, can give us a bigger unlock of profit dollars and even maintain our organic ranking position, which is what happened here.
It is a very good example that is first showing how when you dynamically price, it directly impact BSR. So we can see pretty quickly how, like in green, it was drastically improved. And the second geeky thing that I'm seeing here is when you are trying to explore out of your local maximum, because it was stuck in a local maximum because of the upper bound that he was setting in your software.
Correct.
You found uh, a better optimum. And this is uh, easier for on the PPC side to be tested because you don't need to change the price for the whole product and it has a significant impact. We do it at a keyword level. And whatever performance we are getting at a certain keyword, we need to explore either higher and lower. And what is happening sometimes when we see that type of effects unlocking um, incredible results, it's mainly going above like the average first line bid of the competition. So if we are always, let's say, the average bid for line one is $1 and we are bidding below $1 and we are mainly on the rest of page. When we go
Mhm.
above this threshold, we start getting the first positions and we were fine with the results getting in within the $1 bid. And while discovering that, getting out of this local optimum, we discover that the performance is even better, and we start bidding 1.5 or 2, whatever, way higher, and staying in this completely different zone of bidding, which is way easier to explore and less risky to be explored than a PPC, than a price optimization where you kind of need the approval of changing the upper bound for the product price.
And so will M19 automatically be aware of that upper bound and start to explore further, or how does it actually adjust?
So we have a tweak in the system that we call the competition factor that tries to estimate how hard the competition is. Since we know that it's a second price auction, we make a bid. We do only down only bidding. So Amazon is not bidding higher than what we suggest. We do only down only bidding. We get the CPC, so we know how much we paid at the end of the day. So we compare our bid to the CPC. And with the difference between the two, we can estimate how the competition is high. So when our bid is very close to the CPC, it shows us that it's likely that there is a lot of competition. And when it's like this, we tend to increase the bid the day after by a couple of cents, because we will know that by a couple of cents, we might cross a threshold because the competition is higher in this region. And with this dynamic, we tend to explore higher when there is a high competition that will help us go outside or cross this threshold. And in the other direction, where there is very limited competition and what we bid is way higher than the CPC, we tend to decrease the price, the bid, because there is no reason to continue bid high and taking the risk of having someone that is just coming to second price us and make us for the same position, the same keyword and product, pay way higher. So we have this competition factor that is there to avoid these minimums and also to drop the bid when there is no competition and it's risky to stay in this bidding area.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it's a good, because we start here talking about like keyword level bidding, the pricing at ASIN level. How was your journey of like how do you tackle this issue, because of PPC is done like PPC optimization outside the budget that is allocated and the target that is at account or ASIN level. It's usually done at keyword level, and the price you can only
Yeah,
set it
so
at product level.
what we do is we know where pricing is going a week before we change the price. So we know where the price is going, and we share every Monday where the price is going with either the manager of the PPC account or the agency. And so we tell them, hey, price is going here. This is where spend should go. It's up to either the software and brand manager to allocate that to high performing keywords. So
And
we'll
can
make
you tell more
recommendations. Yeah, go ahead.
and can you tell more, how do you allocate, how do you get this budget if someone want to do it by himself? Like what's the logic behind it? How do you find what budget to be allocated with the new price?
Well, we have a model that does that. And so we'll share like a spreadsheet that has where the original price is, where the last week's price is, where the price is going, and where the spend or budget should go on based on where the price is going, because price dictates spend. That's our thesis, and that's what we believe is your price can unlock either more spend or less spend. And if you just do it in a way where it's offset, you can unlock these like non-linear profit dollars that people haven't previously.
Okay, and in your thesis and your model, you are trying to maintain the same level of profit margin.
We're focusing
I
on
mean,
we actually focus on absolute profit dollars. So
absolute profit dollar. Okay,
we don't focus on margins. We focus on the actual bottom line profit. Are you making more money as a business?
okay. Because one one system that we have in place that is, by the way, still in beta. If someone is interested, I can get him included in the beta. Is the total ACOS based or margin based PPC optimization, where with a target margin or total ACOS, we predict what budget should be allocated for the next days. This budget based on what formats are running for the product that is running the strategy, sponsor product, brand, and display. We split it in a specific distribution, and we run the ads on it. So because when we are doing these tacos-based strategies or tacos-based optimization, we tend to close to what you are describing for the pricing to be reflected in PPC. We derive from it what budget can be spent or used in order to maintain the target total ACOS, because we estimate what would be the conversion rates that would lead with a specific spend to the desired total ACOS or profit margin in percentage, but not in dollars, which is kind of similar to the deriving the budget to be allocated from the new price that you are estimating.
One of the things I did want to share, I think this might be the first for you. All right, it looks like we have some chats coming in, so let me like do that first. So, let's see here. So we've got, all right, so we've got John Aspinall, the CTR GOAT. He's asking, how does it work when you raise price when someone is on subscribe and save? And I think that's a really good question. So in our model, we have a input. So if I go to actually our application right now, I'm just going to show everybody real quick. Just do it. Why not? Just seeing is believing. So I'm going to share my screen here. So there's an input for subscribe. So you can select your goal and then you can actually set up a profile. So there's a subscribe and save input that goes into the model. So the subscribe and save input creates a limitation on the upward bound of how high we can go on subscribe and save, because we want to make sure we're retaining your customers that are already in the funnel to get products that are delivered. So there's a limitation or an input in the profile where you can customize this specific ASIN and adjust it. It's a really good question. One of the things that I found is for subscribe and save specifically, it's interesting. Here's an example of an email that you'd get on subscribe and save when a pricing changes. So this is berberine. It's a supplement for those that are, and berberine helps with glucose and bringing down your glucose levels if you're pre-diabetic, which I am. And so you can see here, my last price was $23.94, which I subscribed to this during, I believe it was like Black Friday or something like that. Or maybe it was a little bit before that. And the new price is $29.92. So this new price, by the way, is a 25% increase. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not reducing or losing customers that are in the subscription process already while you're adding net new subscribers with a high lifetime value. So this is something that our model is aware of. Good question, John. Thank you for paying attention. Go ahead, Tarik.
And you are able to measure the impact on the existing subscribe and save. Is there it's maybe a stupid question. Is there the data? Is Amazon providing the data to measure? Yeah, I don't know. Can we measure the drop for each day of your existing subscribe and save? Whenever you make a change price, you can measure before and after,
So
seeing if
you can do cohort analysis on subscription products. Amazon just released actually the API for subscriptions. So we're subscription aware when it comes to our model making price changes.
Okay.
In terms of there's some commentary that came in the chat that I want to address, which is also, and it's a good thing people have questions around this. First of all, like there's only so much you can do when you're manually changing price. And so there's people that are saying, "Hey, I made price changes. I didn't see an impact." Like, how many price changes are you making? What is the size of the price changes? Are you making price changes that are built on actual data, like data-driven decisions? And these are all like really important questions to be asking and to be answering. So when I first started Profasee, and I'm happy to share this with people post call if you email me, we started literally, this is the spreadsheet template I used for my own business. So every day I would go in, I'd pull in the BSR previous year, the change, the units sold, uh, price changes, revenue changes, always looking at year over year data as well, ad spend, COGS, profit, sessions, conversion rate. Then I would pull in competition's price and their position and their BSR. This is some of the data that I was analyzing on a daily basis to make decisions around my specific strategic pricing goal, whether it's to profit maximize or BSR maximize or liquidate. And so it really comes down to analyzing the data. So the best thing I can tell people if you're maybe either too small to use Profasee or you want to just try it manually is you need to let data drive the decisions of uh, what your changes should be based on your intention for that specific SKU. Hopefully that made sense for those that are in the chat.
There's another question we didn't cover. I don't know. Is it a yeah? It can be a PPC question. Sometimes I get very few impressions, even if the bid is high. Could this have something to do with price? So it can have, it can be PPC. When I see this happening, most of the cases, the keyword where the bid is high and not getting impressions, like the trickiest and dummiest scenario that I saw happening here, and that is frequent, is usually there are other products in the seller catalog that are competing on the same keyword that are getting the impressions because of some internal mechanics in Amazon advertising. They tend to have the fewer possible ACEs to be from the same catalog to be exposed on a search term. And usually you have other options or other products from the catalog that are appearing. Sometimes it's because of other bids within the catalog, within the same catalog that are appearing. So it doesn't matter how high you increase the bid. If the estimated conversion rate from Amazon is way lower than for your other product, the one that is not getting impression will continue to not give impression. What about price, Chad? Do you think it can explain not getting impressions?
So I think it comes down to just first of all, I don't know the historical context of the listing itself, right? And so it's you can't just say everything is price, right? I don't know the age of the listing. I don't know if it's FBA. I don't know what its images are doing or titles or bullet points or if it's optimized for keywords, right? So there's a lot more that I need to understand to be able to kind of put it in context. But I could say that when you make small incremental price changes and you make those price changes that are data driven, that are smart and conscious, then your impression share will not plummet. In other words, if you're giving Amazon what it wants, Amazon will reward you for that, which is that example I showed with the Mina supplement specifically. This happens all the time, but unfortunately, sellers just don't have the tools, they don't have the data, and they're not making the decisions wrapped around data to really unlock what the optimal price is. So that's my kind of quick response to that specifically. Any thoughts on that?
Uh, since you shared the template for people who are willing to make it manually, are there any other tips or things that someone need to keep in mind or do, or if they want to do dynamic pricing manually, Chad, can
Yeah,
be
if you're doing, I
useful
mean,
for
like I
people?
think the pricing framework spreadsheet that I have, feel free to email me, Chad at Profasee. It's on my shirt here. I'm happy to share with you this template using data to drive decisions, making smart and conscious price changes. Hmm, I think that's really it. Like really making small incremental changes and seeing how that impacts whatever your intention is, whether it's to drive BSR, drive profit, or drive revenue.
And is there any, if there is one KPI to monitor or metric to monitor, to measure, are you hurting or are you going into the right direction? Which one would you use?
It's I think it's for me, like I believe that it depends on your stage as a company. It's always like things depend, right? There's no like guru answer specifically, because everyone's listing is so different. So let's just say me. I'm just gonna use me as an example because I'm an experience share. So I make vacuum filters. I have a lot of aged products. My aged products are mature, and I'm looking to harvest profit, but I'm not looking to sacrifice my BSR. So what that's my intention. That's my goal. So what I would do is I would try to make price adjustments, see what happens to price and how that impacts unit velocity, how that impacts profit, how that impacts spend, and how that impacts BSR. Those are the things I would probably be looking at when I'm making these small incremental decisions. There's this great Harvard Business Review that was done, a study where it says, hey, a 1% increase in profit can create a 14% increase in or 1% increase in price can increase operating profit by 14%. I think that's a great kind of approach. 1%, like a 1% increase can go a really, really long way. And that's what I would focus on. Small incremental changes to drive specific behavior.
And would you do it jointly with your other, when you have variations or similar products inside the catalog? Would you recommend for manual people that are willing to optimize to focus on one variation, measure the different KPIs that you shared, everything, or do it jointly with the others because of the
It's
cross?
it's actually I mean that requires me to share my screen again. These are good questions.
Which,
So like let's so there's many different strategies online, right? So like I like to use Draw Press. It's easy. Let's just take Zule as an example. So his hero his hero listing, his hero child SKU is the gateway drug. This is a 14.99 SKU and it's the lowest in the portfolio. Okay. So his process is, hey, get people in on a low price, and then they might see a color that they like. And this is the traditional upsell. This is like you at Bed Bath and Beyond in the aisle, checking out and then seeing all the other stuff that they want to sell you. It's a traditional upsell strategy. And so you can see here the 14.99, he's upselling 20.99 and 19.99, and rose gold is 19.99. So like this is one interesting strategy that could be implemented with price changes. So like instead of making them all flat, you can have your heroes to be lower and then cross sell. And my assumption here is that at least 20% of customers, at least, are cross selling and upselling into the higher priced garlic press. Because at 14.99, he's just not making a lot of money.
so the same strategy is also used on in PPC where you have the higher conversion variation that is promoted to drive traffic because it's even if it's you have lower margin, it can be cheaper. The cost per click for the product or the cost per acquisition can be better even with a lower price and lower profit margin. So they use a gateway variation to bring traffic to the ASIN, like sponsored sessions to the ASIN, and then cross sell, either cross sell through variations or cross sell below through sponsored similar products, which tend to be way cheaper to get compared to having someone to come to your expensive variation directly from a click on search result. It's cheaper if you combine a click on your top performing variation than a click on sponsored similar to. The sum can be smaller than an expensive click directly to the high priced
Totally.
item. So
Agree. Yeah. So this is obviously it's not synchronized across the board in terms of his pricing. Uh, there's other things that you can do, right? With let's just say we type in trash bags. Trash bags, 13 gallon. I don't know. Let's see. So let's see if I can find a good listing here. I'm just winging it. So here, no, this is no variations. He has his digital bundles here. Fine. Let's try this one. Mm, Nothing here. What I was trying to show is something called decoy pricing, which is essentially you have like three different prices, and one of them is like non-FBA. So this is like way too many listings here, um, which by the way is probably not good for the listing. But there's like a decoy pricing strategy where you have like a low priced item, it's not FBA, and that is sort of in the middle. So that people are forced to actually go and upsell into a larger value pack. And I've seen it with garbage bags before where they do this, where they have like three that they show. Unfortunately, none of these are doing that specific strategy, but that's a great example. One of the things, this is going to be new information for you, Tarik. I'm going to show you. Me and Tarik have been testing we've been beta testing pricing and PPC together. So I like casually like asked my team, I was like, how is it looking? Because it's still very new. And so one of the things I wanted to share was like really where we're at. So the graph that you're looking at here is net profit. Red is profit of this year. Blue is profit of last year. Okay. Gray is when we actually train the model. We do something called hyper learning, where we price test at scale to train the model to see how Amazon competitors and customers react to price changes. So we do that for 1 month to train the model. It's like if you went on Netflix and you never watch anything. Let's just say I'm into Squid Games. I'm into sci-fi. And if I go on a blank slate, it might be showing me rom-com, right? Or maybe my wife starts watching on my account and she's algorithm surfing and suddenly she sees my rom-com and now it changes the algorithm. So what you need to do is you need to force interaction data because most brands don't change price. And so we force interaction data here. So the real experiment, the optimization phase starts here at this dark blue line. So it's still, again, very early. But I wanted to show everybody what's happening here. Now, remember, this is with M19. This account is, if you look at profit of last year, is outperforming this year. Always the red line is under the blue line for the entire time. Now our model enters into the optimization phase. I want you to see what happens to the red line. The red line is actually above the blue line, and the gap has closed significantly in the post-experiment daily profits. So pre-experiment profits were 400 to 500 range, right? Post-experiment, 800 to $1,000 range. But there's a higher frequency of much larger
yeah.
days, and the red line is above the blue line. Again, this is first blush. This is the first time Tarik is seeing this information, but we're seeing higher peaks and a better baseline of profits after implementation, and red is recovering after being underperforming last year for quite a period of time. It's fun stuff to look at, but that's new information and something that I just wanted to share with everybody joining today because it's something that's a combination of the work that M19 is doing and Profasee.
I love it. Yeah, we can see that before the optimization, the red was generally below the blue, and after, without doing any advanced math or whatever, the red is above. So I think
Yeah,
it
the
will if
moment
we
we
do.
started together, the moment we started together
Yeah.
with M19 and Prophecy, it went above. Anyway, again, it's still
Okay.
early, right? These things aren't like overnight. So every change that our model makes, it gets better over time. And so as it makes changes, it gets smarter. Unlike a human, which takes some time to learn from its mistakes, including myself, our model just makes those mistakes and gets better and better and better. And those learnings compound and become a durable competitive advantage.
There's a question about the graph you have just shared, Chad, that maybe you can address because I don't understand it.
Yeah, it doesn't actually make sense. So I'm going to share the graph again.
Yeah, because
So
it's already
it's
in the
actually
graph of the
showing it's
previous.
showing you actually
Yeah.
blue. Look at the light blue line. That's profit of last year. So we're already taking into account the seasonality impact.
Mm.
So we're
Okay.
looking year over year, right? Profit and what's happened. And it's looking at before we started and then after we started, including the seasonal effect after the experiment phase. Now remember, this is only a month into the profit optimization phase. So like there's a whole lot more learnings that are going to happen as we start to refine our strategies internally, as our model is improving and making better decisions, as our data science team is providing this, and as M19 and us are collaborating to even drive further profit. So this is the difference between, I think, a traditional SaaS company in the space that's just focusing on PPC, where they don't care about the outcome that they're trying to generate for you. Whereas like this new collaboration with M19 is we're focusing on with Prophecy, we're selling an outcome, right? We're selling the, hey, we're going to drive effectiveness in the business and we're going to show you that effectiveness and we're going to keep working to make you more effective. This is a big change of pace from what typically is happening in our space where people are like, hey, here's a software, see you later. The software is isolated and siloed and doesn't talk to anything else. And this is really the difference that me and Tarik are working together on and collaborating on to actually even improve outcomes in the space. And this is also stuff that China is not doing, right? And so like there's only so much you can do doing what everyone else is doing. So, it's not, in my opinion, right? It's not more ad spend. It's not new product launches. To me, that's not it. It's not running endless discounts. It's actually doing things differently and using data to drive those decisions and harmonizing both price and spend together to make that happen. What do you think, Tariq?
I'm still super excited about the result I've just saw and thinking about all the possibilities of joint optimization and also what we can because in this joint optimization we are not even using the tacos-based optimization that can be even better suited to dynamic repricer and PPC optimization. So if we achieve these type of results without even our most advanced optimization models, I'm expecting to have some crazy results if we push this even further. So yeah,
This
I
is what I'm
completely agree.
saying. This is why I'm super excited to collaborate with you, and you're bringing a lot of new depth to the conversation around PPC, and so is your software. And I'm looking forward to. And I'm sorry to spring that up on you just randomly. But it's part of the surprise on these webinars. Got to keep everyone on their toes.
I wasn't expecting to see this graph here, but yeah, very happy that this was the output. If the output was not that good, I don't think that you would have made the surprise for me during the webinar.
Yeah. Well, it's all good.
Oh, maybe,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So I think we've been going for a bit. It's been a good convo. I do want to share our promo code with everybody that's joining. So if you're interested in prophecy, then what you can do is you can go to Profasee.com, and when you book a demo in the referral code, you can use M19. It's capital M19, and we'll give you 30% off for the first 3 months. It's a great deal. I want to thank M19 for helping to collaborate and put this together. And I think there's going to be some really great collaborations in the future between our two companies. And I certainly want to give an opportunity for Tarik to share if he has anything he wants to offer those that are listening.
Yeah, sure. So we have our 1 free month of testing with M19. So if you use the promo code combo, we can offer an extra month of free test. So we can take it from 1 to 2 month free test using the promo code combo, like for M19 and Profasee combo.
How do they use that code?
W- in the registration process, they can input the code
Awesome.
combo.
Awesome. If people want to learn more about myself or some of my thoughts that I'm posting online, feel free to reach out, check out my LinkedIn, Chad Rubin, Twitter, it's Chad Rubin. And Tariq, if people want to learn more about yourself, how do they find you?
On LinkedIn, Tarik Berrada on LinkedIn. I'm not very active, but I try to to be active there. And our website, m19.com. And of course, you can message me on LinkedIn. I'm very I answer pretty fast.
Amazing. Well, thank you everyone for spending time with us today. Thanks for joining. Feel free to email us, contact us, reach out, uh, and we'll be in touch. Thanks so
Enjoy.
much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.